I hate math or I hate science. I don't want to read or write ever. We've all been there. Our kids have said this to us, and we have no idea how to generate any interest inside their beings to love to learn. So in this video, I'm going to share 6 tips with you that are going to change your and their world. There is one thing that is true about kids. They are innate learners. They are born curious. Sometimes certain things that we do as a society kind of messes with that curiosity, and then they start saying these invisible scripts inside their heads that it's the subject's problem, or they don't like to learn, or they don't like to work hard. And we all as adults also struggle with these kind of scripts. I promise there are certain things that you haven't even thought about, but they are going to make a huge difference in the way your child learns. So number 1, observe your child. Oh, okay, yeah, I know what my child likes and does not like. No. I'm not talking about that kind of observation where you are doing the dishes or folding laundry and just like looking at them. Maybe they have siblings, you overhear their interaction. Nope. I'm talking about 10 minutes per day of serious observation. You sit down in the corner of the room, not make a single sound, especially when they are busy playing something and they are deep focused into something. That's when you do this observation. You have this notebook ready, and every single day you write down something that you noticed about your child. It can be something as subtle as while they were working, they experienced or discovered something, and there was a change in the tone of the voice. It is a very subtle way to observe your kids, and I promise there will be patterns that will emerge over the next few months, and you will get a deeper understanding of what your child already likes and dislikes. Now, if you say you don't have 10 minutes per day to do this, come on, man, look at your screen time. We all know it's 7 hours and 14 minutes. I'm just kidding. Take those 10 minutes out every day and you will be thankful. This is also going to act like a meditative experience for you where you do nothing else but observe, and you will find yourself getting closer to your children. Number 2, find their obsession. So of course, from this observation, you will be able to find something that they're obsessed with if you already didn't know about it. And now you can turn this obsession into learning, into math, English, history, science, geography, whatever it is that your heart desires. And here's how you're going to do this. The idea is that you understand what they're interested in and now break it apart into different subjects. So for example, if your child is obsessed with balloons, you can teach them about surface tension and where in the world the most hot air balloons are found. You can start working on the history and the physics, the thermodynamics, and anything that concerns balloons. There can be what material are balloons made out of? Where is the rubber sourced from? How does rubber come out of a tree? There is so much you can do to expand from one topic, and you will be amazed at how these interconnected stories are going to inspire your child because the subject, the topic of discussion is relevant to them. Number 3, the juicy fruit rule. Juicy fruit? What does that have to do with education? Hear me out. Let's say you offer your child to eat a papaya. Most people think papaya tastes like feet. That's because they haven't had the papaya that we get in our backyard. I have grown these trees from seeds and they taste like pudding. They are the most juicy, sweet, smooth, and the most delicious papayas I have ever tasted in my life. My kids love those papayas. They look forward to every time we harvest them and they devour them. So if I give them papaya that sometimes you find at the side of the street in India or something that is hard like cardboard, has no juice, even adults don't like to eat that. Why will kids eat that? So that's the same principle that goes with learning and teaching. So if you're teaching something to your kids and you are not as excited about that topic as the juicy papaya, you are not allowed to teach it. That doesn't mean you're never going to teach it, but you will first find a way to get so excited about that topic. So for example, if you as a child created this invisible script in your mind that you hated physics, you will find ways to play with physics and learn certain concepts till it becomes that exciting, enticing topic for you. and it becomes the juicy papaya, not the one like cardboard. And this brings me to my next point. Prepare yourself and the environment. We do tons of preparations for our jobs, for even when people come over to our house, we clean our house. But at times I've noticed that when it comes to teaching things to our kids, we're like, I'm an adult, I know everything, whatever is needed, and I'm going to be able to handle it, and they'll just learn from me. But is it true though? Have you really prepared yourself and gotten excited about the topic you're going to talk about, or even that environment? As an example, a very simple thing that you can do to prepare the environment is declutter most of your living space wherever your kids are learning and living, and put something in the center, like a center table, and place a project. Just without any expectations, see how they interact with it. Whether they like it or not, they don't want to do anything with that project, you can switch it. But think about a tiny preparation in your mind. Like after they go to sleep, you set that up, and in the morning, they wake up fresh with energy and they're filled with wonder. What is this thing? These days, my son has been interested in starting how to write, and he mentioned that he got a little bit confused between how a lowercase b and a lowercase q look, and every time he's trying to write those letters, he mixes them up. So on our special coffee table, I put out this practice books for writing. It was fine the first couple of days he was interested, but I don't think that it was quite at that juicy ripe fruit stage yet. I will be doing more projects and experiments with him to just build P's and Q's with clay, or create sandpaper letters that we DIY. We put glue and then we put some colored sand on it, and he can trace and write the P's and Q's by himself. So just find out ways where they have a gap, they have a curiosity gap, and how can you fill it in the most exciting way. And if you can prepare your whole house to be conducive to those learning moments, they are obviously going to learn more. The Montessori method of teaching is big on a prepared environment. In our house, I've even put all the utensils in lower shelves, so kids are not frustrated trying to find plates, cups, and spoons. Just in general, I try to save their energy from doing these worthless things where they have to keep climbing and finding things that they need every day. I prepare the whole house not just as a place for learning, but also a place for living. And anytime they show interest, I will have those materials very easily accessible and available, because this happens all the time where you set something up and then 2 days later there's furniture lying all over the place and the kids cannot reach those materials. So it's a daily process. I keep looking at the environment and keep making changes, small tweaks here and there, and I see that the kids get more excited and they interact with the space way better. I hate math. How many of us have heard that? And this one, I wanted to talk about it as a specific pointer because it's just been this script in so many of our heads, and I want to get rid of it once and for all. There are so many amazing ways to learn math, and the most important one is to show them concrete math before they start abstract math. What I mean by that is numbers and quantities in a child's mind are something very vague. So anytime we get a moment, we try to show them in real life. For a 2-year-old, the word 1,000, just think about it. What does it mean in their head? But if I show them a 1,000 bead and a 1 bead, they can see that there is a genuine difference between the size, the weight, the quantity, the capacity of these two numbers. So anytime you want to teach your kids math principles, I would highly recommend make it more concrete. As I speak, I'm showing you all of this material that I've acquired. You don't have to get everything, but there are certain basic things that if you use them with coins or cowries or any other material like beads and small pebbles, you can teach them multiplication, division, and just the understanding of quantity in a concrete way first. Even before they write their first number on a paper, they should understand what this quantity means. How much more hot is the sun compared to the magma inside the earth? Is there a way you can present these two quantities in comparison? Can you find like a small block of wood and a giant block of wood? that can compare and contrast these two quantities, that will really help set up a good foundation inside their brains where they don't have to get confused. It is especially very good for children who are neurodivergent, who are dyslexic. They can't understand the way 2 is written and 5 is written, but they do understand that 2 kgs is different from 5 kgs. Take them to your gym, show them your dumbbells, have them pick up some of the light dumbbells and see what is the difference between the weight. And when they try to pick up a 20 kg, they won't be able to move it. So just understanding those concepts, the kids are not going to hate math for that. This is real life. This is how humans were meant to interact with items and objects first. And then, I don't know, man, at 8 years old, 10 years old, they can write their numbers and their multiplication tables, which are not even that important, really, if you think about it. But even if you have to have multiplication in their heads, it should be done with concrete objects first. My next point is games and more games. Oh, who doesn't like to play games? Kids, adults alike. We can all team up, play tons of board games, experiment with different types of genres of games, strategy, Monopoly. My daughter loves to be the banker and she will do all of the calculations, $1,650 broken down into notes so easily because she's playing game. And honestly, these days we've played it so much that she doesn't want to be a banker anymore. She just wants to play the game for the fun and joy of it. And that's okay, because that brings me to my next point, that give them time and space. When they're tired of something or you had introduced that topic to them and they didn't like it, it's okay to give them a lot of space so they can assimilate. These brain networks are forming every day and sometimes they get overloaded. So it's totally fine if they get this giant amount of break. Madame Curie, she took a 2-month-long vacation right before publishing the most important work of her life. Her brain just needed that space. She was working knee-deep into research and then she needed a 2-month vacation. After that, the papers that she published, they went world famous. So everybody needs a little bit of downtime, and it's called the immersion time, because all the stuff that the kids are learning in the daytime, at night when they sleep, the connections get solidified. And sometimes they need a few weeks in the middle to solidify and make these connections concrete. So lots of space. I'll promise you they will have joy learning when they have all these concepts solidified. My last one, reading and writing. That is also a hard feat for a child to accomplish. And honestly speaking, if you are not reading and writing every single day in front of them, they are not going to do that. It took me months to realize, man, I haven't written anything with a pen and paper in years. Why will my kids be inspired to read and write? So I started writing in a journal. Every single day, I write about what happened yesterday, and it's just this really nice meditative cleansing practice for me, and my kids see me do that every day. They want to scribble in the notebook too, totally fine. And anytime I am reading, they know, okay, mom picks up this book, it must be good. Books must be good, because they have the survival instinct. Anything the parents do are good things for them, safe things for them. So if you are constantly reading and writing, they will show interest. And just like walking, this is a hard skill to master. English especially, goodness, the spellings are crazy. Even though I never shame my kids for not writing the correct spelling, because have you seen the 2 rules and 1,000 exceptions that happen in English? But they still get a little demotivated, and all we can do is give them lots of time and space, patience, and as they read more, write more, they will get to that point where they get comfortable. And our job is to just let them make as much mistakes as they possibly humanly can, so they know that mistakes are not the problem, lack of practice, lack of effort is. And in the same spirit, if my child doesn't want to write something, I'm always available to write for them. In fact, we've started this really fun practice where I'll ask my daughter to make up stories. I will write them down in her storybook, and then I can read it to her or her younger siblings. She feels this joy and pride that I wrote a book, and she didn't have to worry about the spellings or writing them neatly in one line and making sure like everything fits. But this is something that she's already proud of, and it's just a good place to be, where she fundamentally thinks that reading and writing a book is a good idea, and eventually as she grows and matures, she'll be able to write her own books. So figure out these ways, just knowing your own child. What would they be proud of? What would they like you to do? And how would they like your support, that they can do these hard things, but they are not rushed into it? And my last bonus tip is, this is something that we practice in our household. We do 2 weeks of do anything you want weeks in the year. I've decided we're gonna do it in May and in November. You can pick whenever you want to do that. Of course, within boundaries of safety and just reasonable boundaries, they are allowed to choose, pick whatever they wanna wear, eat. Sometimes even when we go to the grocery store, they're allowed to pick candy, but I'll just limit it to 3 per kid so that it's just not too much sugar that they're consuming, but they get to live their life the way they want. I am on the sidelines noting just to know how they are without my shadow, because they'll do almost everything that the parents drag them to or ask them to do, but knowing what steps they are going to be taking in my absence is so valuable to me, because as they grow, their dependence on me and on the parents is going to reduce slowly, and I will have a good idea of what decisions my kids will and won't take when they are left on their own terms. This is something they look forward to, and they're very excited about the November Do Anything week coming up. I was very nervous doing it the first time back in May, but it was one of the most peaceful weeks that we spent together. The kids were genuinely so happy and excited that we wanted to give them their own time, and I felt like the respect was coming back from them. They're like, oh, mom, dad really care about us, that they want us to spend time as we please, and it was overall just such a good experience. So try these things out, think out of the box, knowing your child's sentiment and lifestyle. What are the changes you are going to make to create this bond and this environment that is conducive for learning? They will learn the hard things if they feel that they are being respected and taken care of. So let me know what you think. And if you have any ideas, tips, and suggestions on how to help inspire kids to do hard things, please leave them down in the comments below, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.